What's up YouTube, it's your boy Everyday Tech, and I've been using the product for about a month now, and I definitely had to share it with y'all. You see, one of my favorite purchases of the last 5 years had to be my Nintendo Switch. I've been a gamer all my life, and I love having handhelds. But there's an issue I have with it, right? It's a little bit thin, especially if you have larger hands like myself, so I tried finding a solution to this problem. And I came across a nice product from a company called the Nitro Deck. Now, I was about to buy the original version because they had a lot of cool retro colors like the GameCube colors or the original Nintendo colors, as well as red, blue, yada, yada, yada. But I was lucky enough to find out that they were actually making a revised version called the Nitro Deck Plus. I picked it up and it finally came in about a month ago. I've been using it ever since, and I got some thoughts. So let's jump in. So let's talk about the build. First off, when I got out the box, the first thing I noticed was it was very reminiscent of those old third-party Dreamcast or PlayStation controllers. It has that hard plastic feel, but not as cheap. Just not as premium as, let's say, aluminum or metal. All in all, it's a really comfortable hard plastic, which I don't know how durable it's gonna be over time. I have dropped it once, and it's doing fine. No cracks, no dents, nothing. So far, that hard plastic isn't too big of a concern. And I also gotta say, it is surprisingly lightweight for its sheer size, because it is a larger controller. It is very lightweight, and the ergonomics are extremely comfortable when holding the device. Now, if you look at the build of it, you'll see the grips are very comfortable and contort to bigger hands like myself. It actually looks a little bit like a Steam Deck, although a tiny bit smaller and not as well built, but very familiar. Now, I got the black translucent color and it looks amazing. I can see when the rumble kicks in. You can see the internals if you look close enough, and it just has a retro style translucent display that reminds me of like old school controllers. I will say, when it comes to the buttons on this device, the left and right triggers are a little bit mushy and a tiny bit shallow. They're not as good as they can be, but they're definitely not bad. They are comfortable enough, and even when I just let my hands sit on them while playing games, I don't really find myself having much accidental presses. The joysticks, on the other hand, I think are extremely well made. Now, they are halo effect joysticks, which definitely solve the Nintendo Switch stick drift issue. If you ever checked out the internet or had a Nintendo Switch, you'll notice sometimes the controller ends up getting bad and just continuously drifts. You don't get that with halo effect controllers, and glad to say the Nitro Deck Plus is halo effect. I love it. The controller also feels really well built when it comes to the joysticks. That's the part that feels a bit more metal, and it's replaceable. Now, sadly, it does not come with replaceable joysticks in the box. You can buy them for about 20 bucks, and they have different colors, textures, and sizes. And I like the fact that they have concave options, which is why I'm planning on buying those additional joysticks. Now, I will say the D-pad and the buttons are nothing special. I haven't really got a chance to use the D-pad with fighting games because the Nintendo Switch kind of sucks for fighters. When I give you my longer term review, I'm definitely gonna put it through its paces with fighting games. Other than that, the D-pad feels fine. It's clicky. It's a standard D-pad. Same thing with the face buttons. They're positioned well, they're plastic, as most controllers will be, but they're fine. Another great feature of the build is it comes with a pretty sturdy kickstand. So if you want to use this standing up and use a separate controller, you very well can. The only downside to that kickstand is I don't really like the viewing angles it provides, but other than that, just using it as a dock is fantastic. And I'm gonna get back to the point I just made about using it as a dock, because that is another feature that this has, especially over its predecessor. Now, besides that kickstand, what else do you get with this? You actually get about 6 more triggers. These are like pro triggers that you would get on a PlayStation Pro controller or an Xbox Pro controller. They are very comfortable, very well placed actually, to the point where I don't accidentally press them, and I actually utilize them more so than I do on some of my other controllers. They have a good amount of click to them, tactile feedback's nice, and with the Cracked app that you can download on iOS or Android, you can actually customize these triggers. But having pro triggers built into this device is actually a big flex. And I gotta say, there are only 2 ones I don't like. For some reason, they added 2 additional pro triggers on the side of each joystick, kind of where your hand rests. And that's why I didn't like them, especially at the beginning when I was still getting used to the controller. There have been accidental presses with those. I have gotten used to it. My hand placement has changed over time, so I don't worry about it too much, but I still don't find the exact need for it. But that could be a game-by-game situation. There might be games where having it that close actually comes in handy. I know in Hades, it actually screwed me up because I accidentally used my one-time use power-up in the worst situation on accident, and I was extremely upset because I had to go through the rest of the game without it. But I digress. Small caveat to having all these pro triggers. Once you get used to it though, it doesn't seem to be a big issue. Now how about the comfort? I gotta say, this controller actually is very comfortable. At first, I really wasn't sold on it when I took it out the box and I tried it out for a little bit. In fact, I was thinking I was gonna return this, and then I tried using my original Switch controllers, my original Switch Joy-Cons, and damn, I never realized how uncomfortable those things can be, especially after long playing sessions. And trust me, I can game for a long time and forget the world exists. It's a problem. Please help me. With its larger size, for somebody who is, just an average size man, I think I have average to larger hands. It is really comfortable with long playing sessions. It is heavier than the original Nintendo Joy-Cons, but that's not a problem unless you're like playing on your back or something. But sitting down playing it, I've had no issues with it. I do love the ergonomics. I love the way it feels in my hand. The larger size is really good, but it's still very portable. In fact, I leave this in my bag 9 times out of 10. Sometimes I'm going to the car dealership to get it tuned up, or maybe I'm going to work and I'm on break when I'm gaming. Don't worry, I'm not gaming on the clock, all right? But taking it with me everywhere I go, it fits in my bag. It's very lightweight. It is so comfortable. It actually revitalized my urge to bring my Nintendo Switch with me everywhere I go. I honestly have left my Nintendo Switch on its dock for the last 5 months until I grabbed this controller. And ever since I got it, with this comfort and portability, I've been using it way more often, taking it everywhere I go. It is my right-hand man. I love this thing. I love the comfort it provides. Now, there are a couple of neat features with this thing that you don't get on the Nitro Deck 1 or your Nintendo Switch. For one, compared to the Nitro Deck 1, you could not use that as a dock. This one actually has input and output. And in the box, it comes with an HDMI to USB-C adapter, which is fantastic. And it works very well. You can even use another controller with it. You can use your regular Joy-Cons with it. You can actually use this as a separate controller without your Nintendo Switch docked inside of it. You also get the cracked app that I mentioned earlier where you can remap all your buttons. You can even adjust the sensitivity on the left and right triggers. It's really full-fledged and just gives you a little bit more options when you are using this controller. And like I said before, another feature is the fact that you do have removable and customizable joysticks that you can pick up for about 20 bucks. Now, for the price of this product, I am upset that it didn't come with at least a couple in the box. This product launches for $69.99 before taxes. And it's a tricky sell because the original Nitro Deck is always discounted. I think I saw it for like 50, 40 bucks. Hey, if you want those extra features, you're gonna have to pay a little extra money. This is the newer one. And there is a few differences, like I mentioned. For instance, the joystick placement is not the same as the first Nitro Deck or your Nintendo Switch. You see, they have an asymmetrical joystick placement. One's on the upper left-hand side, the other's on the lower right-hand side. This one, they're both on the upper hand side of your controller. Now, not everything is all sunshine and rainbows. There are some caveats with this thing, some little bit of nitpicky bad things. For one, it's a little bit large for some people. Kids, girls, they might not have as much fun with this one as they would with another Nintendo Switch controller or the Joy-Cons because it is a large controller. It does increase the size. For me, it's a plus. For some other people, it won't be. It also can feel a tad bit plasticky, like I mentioned before. It has that, let's call it a retro hard plastic feel. And there's not as many color options of the Nitro Deck Plus as there are on the regular Nitro Deck. That one comes in, like I said, GameCube colors. They have the grayish color from like Nintendo. They have red, blue, green. Trust me, if this one came in red, I would have a red Nitro Deck. I almost downgraded just so I can get the red one. But the black translucent color is really good. There's also a white translucent color, which is fantastic too. I opted for black. I thought it looked more like the Steam Deck, so I wanted that one. And again, the viewing angles with the kickstand are not the best, and it is a bit pricey for a device that doesn't come with replaceable joysticks in the box. I think for the asking price of $70, they should have included at least a couple of basic options. Maybe not the different colors you can get, but at least a concave option to switch them out. Just something to sweeten the deal a little bit. It comes with a little cheap bag and the HDMI to USB-C adapter, but that's about it. Not a lot of things in the box for 70 bucks. And probably my biggest complaint are those two side buttons on the side of the joysticks. They are just a bit clumsy, and you'll probably mess up once or twice before you get the hang of it. Especially when you're playing a game where the stakes are high, such as, you know, Smash Brothers, or maybe you're really getting into Mario Kart, which I will destroy anybody in Mario Kart if you want to challenge me. Or Hades, because Hades is not an easy game. I haven't had much problem playing like Sonic Colors, but that's because Sonic Colors is not that good of a game. If it wasn't for my daughter, I would not have bought that game or played it, and I'm someone who loves Sonic. You know, I'm gonna do a side note. Sega, you need to remaster and release Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2 for the Nintendo Switch. We all will buy that game. Every single one of us, even people who hate Dreamcast, will buy that game. Make your money, Sega. But I digress. But my favorite things about this have definitely got to be its lightweight, its comfort, its ergonomics, the portability, and the fact that it brought me back into my handheld gaming, especially because I'm slightly addicted to Hades. I love roguelikes. What can I say? I love the build. I love the look of it. It is one of the coolest looking controllers. My Nintendo Switch now looks pretty badass if you ask me. So if you like this, let me know in the comments if you're thinking about picking one up. Maybe you have your own controllers that you're into. Let me know in the comments what you're using. Also, what colors would you rather see this controller in? Drop them all in the comments. Let me know what you think. And once again, thanks for letting me talk about this tech stuff. Peace.